Las Vegas, famous, fabulous playground of the West. A wide-open town that never goes to sleep.
I don't care if the sun don't shine. I do my drinking in the evening time when I'm in Las Vegas.
Get ready for 1 full hour of vintage Vegas. This is Vegas Knights Tales, the radio show. These 3 dealers have spent their time in the gaming pits, and now they're talking. Growing up in 1950s Vegas, breaking into the mob-run casinos in the 1970s, they'll tell what it was really like in the golden era. The art of dice and cards, mobsters and muscles, starlets and harlots. The real story from guys who lived it. Now, let's bring on the hosts. Here's Benny Baccarat, Danny Craps, and Jimmy Bags.
Hey, welcome everybody, Las Vegas and worldwide. I'm sure you're listening even in Singapore, even if you're sleeping, looking for some top ramen. I got Jimmy Bags to my left, and to the far left, he's hiding out over in the corner, Benny Baccarat.
Benny Baccarat.
Welcome to Vegas Knights Tales, and welcome my fellow Vegas Knights.
Good morning, everyone.
Thank you, Craps. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh, it's a beautiful day. It's Wednesday, and man,
105 degrees here in sunny
yeah,
Las
but
Vegas.
I got double band under my arms today.
Double band.
Double band, you know, band.
I got obsession.
And what is it?
Obsession?
Obsession.
Yeah, but do you have an obsession?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a few of them.
Ah.
It was in fashion, eh? No.
Hey, Jimmy Bags, before we get
rant?
started with today's topic, which will be very interesting for a lot of you people out there, you won't realize about how, you know, gaming equipment and dice and cards and tables, where do they come from? And we're going to let you know where they came from at one time. But Jimmy Bags, do you have anything you want to rant about before we get started? There's got to be a few things on your mind.
Yeah, the traffic lights. I want to meet the guy that times these traffic lights. You know, every time it's 105 out, he changes from a 1-minute light to about 6 minutes, you know. There's 40 cars in one direction and no cars coming from the other, and we got the red light. So whoever you are, let me know what you're smoking, brother.
So does that mean you were late?
No, it just got me pissed off, you know.
Well,
but I get pissed off about a lot of things, you know.
Well, the signal light,
That's better than being pissed on, I guess.
the relationship of the signal light, as far as Danny Craps is concerned, relates to the casino business.
Timing.
When I get the green light, that means get the money.
Get the money.
When the yellow light's out, that means caution. The boss might be walking around, and you got to be cool. But when you have the red light, what's that, Benny Baccarat?
That means you better stop. You better stop in your tracks. Yeah, we always had a little call sign for ours. It was called Paco.
Robon?
Yeah, Paco. That's what we used to call
Paco
it.
Rabanne, of course. I used to splash it all over me.
Paco, and that means
Paco,
go ahead
huh?
and get it.
Paco, huh?
Green light, red light, tapping the stick. You know, we had all them little, all those little call signs. You know, it was pretty. Well, you had to use that, or you weren't gonna make no money.
That's right. He
How
told
about-
me, Jimmy, go and get the money. I went, now what do you mean by getting the money? You mean get the money or get the money? You know what I mean?
Get the money.
Hey, well, you know, I used to have this one pit boss, and he, once in a while, he'd get a hair up, you know, where, and he'd start, you know, he'd bust the chops. So I had this one player, and I had coached him, and I was making money off him, and the pit boss kept moving in and out, you know, looking, trying to disrupt the flow. I don't know why. But I told the player, I said, listen, when I say same bet, you press. When I say when you say press, when I say press, you say same bet. In other words, so when he'd come around,
do it the opposite.
I'd say same bet, he'd say press, and the pit manager would be scratching his head. He couldn't. I mean, he'd watch.
Couldn't figure it out.
And I'd look at him like, hey, I'm just doing what the player wants. So as dealers, we did whatever we had to do in order to perpetuate the money in the box by cultivating the player to say, hey, look, the pit manager is not your friend. I am. He may smile at you, but he's looking at the end of the night that PC, that percentage, is going to make him look good for the shift boss and everybody else. So they have a kind of a double standard. You know, they play both sides of the fence, like a double agent, right?
Yeah.
Jimmy
Let me
Bags,
tell
Benny
you, I was at a
Baccarat.
funeral one time. A funeral. It was from a guy that used to work with us, and the owner of the place happened to be there, right? So here's a guy laying in his coffin, you know what I mean?
It's stiff.
And he walked by and says,
He ace-deuced.
"That's what you get for sweating the money." The guy, you know what I'm saying? He was one of them sweaters, man. He got personal, like it was his money, you know? He would really get personal. He killed himself. He stressed himself to death. And the owner standing there looking at him and go, "I told you not to sweat the money. That's what you get for sweating
Well, what
the
do you
money."
mean by sweating the money? What's that mean?
Well, if a guy's winning, you know, they don't want to lose. They want the casino to win at all times, you know, and they act like it's their money. If a guy's gets a roll or something, like it was the Cortez. I worked with a guy. He was a dealer, but he had points in the G. He must have had a point or two in the place, you know, because he'd stand up on the rail and watch me deal at 10-cent roulette. Somebody be winning $40, $50. This guy was starting to panic, you know.
Get all
And he was a
excited.
dealer. And the owner had to tell him, "Hey, you know what, man? Back
Well,
off." You know, I mean,
That was
but
like
I guess
in
if
the-
it was my money, I'd be sweating it too, you know?
Well, if you had interest in the joints,
You
yeah,
wanna
sure
win.
you would be. But Danny knows as well as I do that we used to, we used to have them pit bosses come by, and they'd kick you in the
Yeah,
leg. They'd
that's
change
right.
the whole crew out
That's right.
if they were thinking they were, unlucky.
That
Get
one
rid
used
of
to
'em.
stand behind me and smoking on a cigar and go, "Where the fuck they get you? I ain't seen you win a hand in 10 minutes. You're supposed to be the lucky dealer? I'll send you back to that graveyard. I think they dumped you on me, you know?" Julius Walker, man.
Well,
They own Walker Furniture, but this, I'm talking
Well,
years
there was
ago.
E. Walker, I. Walker.
That was E.
Yeah.
E
Yeah.
was a
There
mean
was a bunch of
son
them.
But he wasn't mean. He was just gruffy guy. You know, he was an old school
that was
guy,
you know
you
that
know.
was just their forte.
Therefore,
back
that's
then.
right.
All
Yeah,
of
but
them
it was
did
true.
that.
They had that persona. They were roughing guys. They didn't fuck with. I mean,
Well, they didn't mess around. I mean, they
Exactly.
come out and tell you. Well, they had us all scared. We were kids, and they had us scared going in there. I mean, they'd come up. You know, they have these dark shades like this.
Yeah.
They'd put them on. You know,
yeah.
they had that big cigar. They come on. Hey,
You
kid,
don't know what they were looking at.
Hey,
That's
kid,
right.
what are you looking at? You know, I mean, get a roll. You know, you're out the door.
But these dealers now, they think they got it hard now. You know what they used to do to us? They used to come up behind us to see if our hair touched the collar of our shirt.
Yeah.
If our sideburns were lower than, you couldn't be lower than your ear, middle of your ear. You know what I mean? You had to be clean shaven. Your nails had to be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Now they come in, they got beards, and they don't look like they took a bath for 2 days. You know what I mean? You had
about
to be
tennis
neat,
shoes?
pressed, and no.
No, they
You
wear
wore
tennis
black
shoes.
Now
leather
they have-
shoes. You know what the thing was when you went in for an audition? What was the automatic thing you wore to go in for an audition?
That you look.
Black and whites,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And that you
black
look the
and
part.
whites.
You looked the part.
Right.
You
They
had to
come
look
in
the
now
part.
with flip flops and shorts or something and want an audition. I go, really? You know,
Yeah, it don't mean
don't they
nothing
teach
like
them
it
that in
used to be.
dealer school? Yeah.
No, it's a
exactly.
lost art, Jimmy Baggs.
It is. It is.
It's the new.
It's our loss. We're old. You know,
Hey, we had our time, and now
exactly. It's a new breed. and it
However,
ain't
it's
a-
going to end up. That's how it's, you know.
Here's another thing I want to. Speaking of ranting, I'm going to rant one more thing, and I shut up. And that's rare. Let me tell you. Remember in the '60s when they come out with that equal rights shit or whatever it is? You know what I mean? You got to have so many at ease and so many at ease and so many at ease, right?
Yeah, like a candy box.
Exactly. You know what I mean? You got to have, say, the population's, the city, 600,000 people, right? 100,000 black, 400,000 white, 50,000 Asian, right? So how should it be
Hey,
in that
man,
joint?
what about my peoples,
well, yeah,
man?
in Mexico.
Don't forget us Mexicans, man.
Now, well, they even stuck it in your ass for a little bit.
I
Because
know, man. That's why it burns.
you go into any of these casinos now, 8 out of 10 of the dealers are Asian. I don't think that population, I don't think they hold the biggest population, 80% of the population of the city. So that labor stuff that they come up with is full of shit. I'm done.
And that was Jimmy Baggs'
Jimmy
rant.
Baggs.
Every week,
That's
Jimmy
not
Baggs
fair
will
to the
have
American.
another rant.
And number one, they're not only Asian, they're not even Americans.
There's a lot
Hire
of,
an
most of
American,
them-
for
Oh,
Christ's
they're,
sake.
They're American. Most of them were born out here. They're all young. You know. There's a lot of
ABCs.
them.
You know what that is? ABCs? Huh? American-born Chinese.
ABC. I didn't
Look
learn my
at
ABC.
Mr. Lee.
I thought that was already been chewed.
That
When
too.
I got-
Already, already been chewed.
Probably been that too.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
But that's just my. You know how you look at things in
Of
life
course.
and think, really?
Well, sure.
You know, like Hillary, she killed them 4 guys in Benghazi. That was just like her putting a gun to their head. And then she's got nerve enough to get up there and run for president? What would happen if we're hanging and it's her choice of making her money or us leaving us out to dry? Guess who's going to dry? We're done.
like beef jerky.
Yeah.
Anyway,
she's
folks.
got nerve.
Anyway, folks, every week Jimmy's going to have a rant so that he can get out of his system. And now, let's go for the subject at hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talking a little bit about a gentleman that was real big in this town without him. His name was Paul Endy, E-N-D-Y.
I thought it was Paulson.
No, well, that's Paul's son, yes. That came from his dad. He took over the company. Is what he did. He bought a company back in 1963. He was born out there in Monterey, California. His dad had a gaming business out there, which he learned how to do all the business-wise. Decided he didn't want to do that anymore, so he was going to move to Utah. He left his wife and them in California, and he stopped in Vegas, going to Utah. Well, he happened to be looking in a paper and found a gaming dice thing that was going out of business.
40,000, right?
Yeah, it was going out of business. Yeah, he borrowed 40,000
From his father.
And he ended up buying it.
Well, who was Indy? The father or the son? Indy,
The father.
the man guy? Yeah.
Yeah, he was the old. Well, his father, Indy was who we call the old man here in town. He's what started here in town. '63 is when he bought that company. He borrowed the money from his father, 40,000, started it, and made a go of it. You know, it's what they do. They make chips, cards, dice tables, layouts,
right?
anything you can do. But Indy took it a little bit further. He was very intelligent at the time. At the time that we started in business, they had clay chips.
Yes.
And these gentlemen know what clay chips are now compared to now. The clay chips, he figured they would only last for so long, and they would bust. So he knew that reproduction of all this stuff was going to make him a lot of money, and it did. But in the meantime, where was he staying? Do you remember where he was staying at, Danny?
Well, behind the manufacturer's business, he had a 16-foot travel trailer, and he lived back there. And when he used to take a shower, what did he use, Jimmy Bags?
A hose.
A garden hose, he absolutely did. That was over by the DI.
That's
Now
correct.
he showers with a golden hose. I mean,
Yeah.
guy, he had a
that was a
lockup.
golden shower.
He
You're
had
right.
a lockup with the. I had a few of them. They ain't bad,
You know. So,
especially if it's cold outside.
well, Mo Dalitz ended up taking a liking to him.
That's correct.
Because he
That's the
found
man.
out where he was living, what he was doing, and everything, and more or less took him under his wing. And
he had a monopoly on that, didn't he, Pat? And
he
For a
he
while.
did, for a while. Then the other companies, Bud Jones and all them started coming into play.
Bud Jones.
Well, he got bought out. But,
I worked at a place where he thought Bud Jones's dice were the only lucky dice.
you know, them were the worst. Then things
Maybe
chipped,
that's why-
broke up. We even had the pips. A pip is the little the white dots on the dice.
I thought it was
And-
Gladys Knight in
That's
the
what I
pit.
was gonna say.
Gladys Knight, the pip. Every now and then you'd see the dice roll down, one of them little pips would fall out.
I've seen that before.
Oh, my God.
I've seen the case of the missing pimp
Yeah,
or pip.
pip.
Yeah, not pimp. Well,
Yeah,
you know.
pip. Yeah, that actually happened. You could see that. And
Oh,
then,
yeah.
well, look at the Jackpot Casino. They would roll them dice. They'd keep them for 3-4 months at a time. They
Yeah.
were like marbles.
Well, you know why? Because
They would
you know,
they would never stop. They just keep rolling around.
Benny, gaming lets. I don't know if many people are familiar with that, but they let the joint maybe shave that little bit to where it has a better chance of rolling on a 7.
They
you know what I'm
don't
saying?
now. I'm
No.
sure that they
It-
did.
They
at the
may
Just
have
a
done
little
it.
bit. You know how
Back
they-
then.
back then.
Not
yeah.
now.
Not now. No. Everything's on
I
the
forgot
square.
the word they call it when
Get it on
they
square?
night the dice. What do you
They
Mic
mic
'em.
They mic them,
yeah.
but you used to be able to take a little bit of sandpaper, just a little bit, just to
Just to
shave
take
the
the edge
corners,
off, yeah.
so you could catch that.
Well, I mean, it was
7
legal
out.
though. They let you
Well,
legally.
even some of the players would take the dice and they would drag it across the layout, which would burn. What
Yeah,
they call burn
that's
one
right.
corner off.
Burn
which
the
would
corners.
Change,
That's right.
Would change the roll of the dice. Now they mic them. They got a mic meter. They do.
And
that.
why do they mic them, Dan?
Well, to make sure they're square, they have to be perfectly square.
Well, to make sure when they go off the table, when they come back, they're ours.
They're ours. Well,
Well, they
there's
gotta
ways.
be-
We'll talk about that. We're going to take a quick break right now for our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
A
Listen to
couple
the
of
Vegas
squares
Nights
like Ozzie and Harriet.
Oh, they weren't square.
Welcome back to the Vegas Knights Tales with Danny Craps, Jimmy Baggs, and Benny Baccarat here live Wednesday, the 12th.
Yeah.
Wow, you know the
12th of ever.
Listen, the year's going by so fast, it's a blur. You
It's
know
a
what a
blur.
blur is?
Yeah.
Is when you can't see straight.
Yeah, it's a
You
blur.
don't have-
And how many times did we have blurs in our gaming career?
Well, when I drank, I always mixed it with orange juice. You know why? No, I always mixed it with carrot juice.
so you couldn't
you
see
could
yourself
see.
going
I
to
could
work?
see better. I drunk, but I could see better. You know?
Yeah. What was we talking about before we went
We were talking about shaving without a razor our dice.
shaving the
Oh.
dice?
Paul Dyson Son / Indy. You know, he also, when he started his business, he had a partner, Curly Ashworth.
Yep,
was
Curly
his
Ashworth.
beginning partner, because when he bought the before then, let me back up, he wasn't happy with that group that he was involved in. So when he started his own thing, he had Curly Ashworth as his partner.
They were they Germans? A name like Indy? Indy. How do you pronounce it?
He was born in Monterey,
Paulson?
California.
Yeah.
As far as before that, I don't.
We'd
I
have to
couldn't-
go on Ancestry.com.
Well,
Jimmy
I was
Baggs.
wondering how. I've never heard Indy. Endy. I've never heard that name before.
Hey,
It's different.
Hey,
Indy. How do you? Indy,
the
how do you
Indy,
pronounce it?
the Indy 500.
Yeah, but it's Indy. Indy.
Yeah.
It just seemed
Yeah, Endicott. Endicott.
something. Anyway, he's Indy Luck. Well, I don't know. He died at 70, so I don't know how lucky that was. But
He died over in Mexico. What he did. You know,
He died in
and-
Mexico?
Yeah, he died in Mexico.
Well,
Got sick over there.
with a yo-yo.
Yeah.
You know who else died in Mexico? Is Steve McQueen died in Mexico
Yeah.
too.
he was getting that treatment.
Was he trying to take a jump?
No, he was trying to take treatment for that cancer he had.
He had
Oh.
pancreatic cancer, and back then he decided that he wanted to do alternative homeopath, and you know he went down there, and the Mexicans were giving him guacamole enemas and things like that. And you know, I mean,
Cactus enemas. With
you
the
ever have a
spikes on it.
guacamole enema?
Guacamole. And I don't think I have cerveza with it.
Oh, it's kind of like an exorcist type thing. What happens to you?
Yeah,
Poor
You ain't
Steve.
you ain't blowing split pea soup. Let me tell you.
That's a shame. You know, seems like them guys, same like that Bonanza, Little Joe.
Little Joe.
He had a life, like a sweet life, man. And then all of a sudden,
Yeah,
boom.
but you know what?
Michael
Little Joe
Landon.
lives on, because when you get the point of 4 on the dice, and you
Little
shoot-
Joe, baby, that's
hey,
right.
Yeah, but I go Little Joe, the wrestler, hard to throw, Little Joe.
Yeah, he's hard to
Little
throw.
Joe, man.
Yeah, had all those little names. But back to Indy, I don't know how he got his name. But
Indy.
yeah, it is interesting.
Indy
You know,
Paul.
It certainly is. I might use that next Scrabble game as Indy. I might be able to, you know.
Well, not only did he do the dice or the chips out of clay, he's the first one to come up with that insert that goes
Yeah.
inside, so nobody could counterfeit them chips.
How huge was that?
That was huge. I mean, everybody went through it, and he ended up making the logo that would fit the whole outside of the chip, so it can make the logo a lot bigger, so people could actually see it.
Which was a catalyst for anniversary chips, because
Exactly.
once he realized the potential of that, you started having all these hotels having anniversary chips with, you know, like at Caesar's Palace, they would have the boxers on some of them fight chips when they would have the
Grand Prix.
Duran,
How
Leonard.
about the World Series of Poker?
Oh,
I got a
yeah.
Johnny Moss, and I got a the kid that OD'd. What was his name?
that was
Stu.
Stu Unger.
Stu
Oh,
Unger.
Stu
Yeah.
Unger, yeah.
And you know what? If you had $1 when they opened the Flamingo Hotel in 1940 or whenever Bugsy opened that, if you had one original dollar chip from that joint, 10,000,
It'd be worth
10,000
$10,000.
right now,
Yeah.
10,000.
10,000.
So that's why I got ball caps and stuff from South Coast before they made it to South Point. I bought Sahara, $100 couple $100 checks from the Sahara. I got some 25s from the. We missed the Riv. We should have did Riv, man, because in the near future, maybe not us, but maybe our kids, if they have them checks, they might be worth.
Well, I bought the
Something.
dollar chips. in there.
Any of them. I mean, like anything that. But that's like throwing $100 away because you can't. If I went in there with that, they wouldn't give it to
Well,
me.
that's what he
Made him
found
money,
out,
yeah.
Made him money. He could sell those chips for 60 cents a piece to the hotels. Now, if somebody took them and collected them,
Yeah.
then that was $5 that the hotel made off of those chips because nobody's going to give them up.
No.
The hotels made the money off that. It was pretty interesting.
No,
Yeah, they don't miss
and then
much.
repeated the.
I have
chips.
I have two. I have a $500 baccarat chip from the Dunes, $100 chip from the Dunes, and then I think I have a $5,000 chip from the Dunes baccarat chip.
Wow.
But because I collected, I got some original dice from the Wilbur Clark's Desert Inn from the.
Yeah, you got
late-
the ones that got the dandies on it.
Oh.
I've seen those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
those
the
are
collector,
collector's items.
You go
Those
down
are
to that.
collectors.
Those are worth thousands of dollars.
Yes.
Thousands.
I've seen those.
So if I don't catch that 45-minute roll, anybody out there wants some dice from the DI, the Wilbur Clark that was really originally owned
originals.
by Mo Dalitz and friends.
Yeah.
Talk about friends. I mean, now you get on Facebook and you get friended. But back then, if they unfriended you, they deleted you altogether.
Yeah, which is good sometimes.
Well,
I'm
tell-
afraid to go on Facebook. I think there's still people looking for me. I mean,
Well, I'm
With
sure
Jimmy
there are.
Baggs.
Yeah, but we got the video.
Yeah, we got.
Jimmy Baggs.
here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to do. I want someone to break into my house and come up the steps, and I want the dog just to bark long enough for me to reach over to the nightstand. You know what I mean? Because I want to see if this new one works.
Knew what?
Pistola, man.
Pistola.
I got a 45.
Well, just remember.
It'll kill the neighbor. I mean, it'll go through him and kill the neighbor. Him or maybe she. I don't want to be.
Well, just remember, you can't
any-
you can't shoot them when they're running
Oh,
away.
no. Come on in.
Come on in. Come on in and have
And
some
then if
kibby.
I do, I'll hold the gun to him, tell him turn around. Then you shoot him.
Well, you should have some
Yeah.
pita bread and hummus because it
Ah, I
look
got
more
some pita.
inviting.
The homeless will come later.
The pita's coming now.
Put the rug on his ass, huh?
The
I'm
rug.
just teasing, folks. I wouldn't hurt a flea.
Well, if you wanted a rug, you used to have to go to the carpet barn.
Well, you
remember?
don't
That's
need
right.
You don't need a
105
carpet.
West
You don't need
Charleston.
a carpet. You need a naughty.
What
What
was
did we
that?
used to say?
876-5151?
Hey, that's really good.
You know that.
But what we used to say.
There's a guy he kidnapped his own kid.
Listen, when bald players would come up, we'd say, this guy needs to go to 105 West Charleston, the carpet barn, and get himself a remnant.
Yeah.
Now it's roadkill.
Yeah.
Now it's roadkill. Well, now, they had a program. The way they do successful hair transplants now is they do one follicle at a time, which is very expensive. Before, they used to graft your hair from the
whole
back and then put it here and there. But now they do one follicle at a time, and it's pretty expensive. It could be 25, 30 grand.
That's ridiculous.
But,
I've never seen a good job.
no.
They're getting better at it now.
Kevin Costner just had one. He looks fantastic.
Remember,
Fantastic.
we used to get them coming in.
My son had a couple
We
of
called
them.
them plugs.
Yeah, plugs.
They
look
look
like
like plugs.
typewriters.
Yeah,
like
it did.
Well-
right in a row.
Yeah.
Benny, don't you remember when we worked with a guy at a joint named Joe Plugs?
Oh, yeah. Joe Plug. That's exactly right.
Joe Plugs.
Yeah, I wish you well, Joe. Miss you.
He had it. The dolls that look like a little kid pulled
Yeah,
out some of the
exactly.
hair.
Right. That's what they look
That's
like.
what he
what he
looked
looked
like.
like.
Joe
Right.
Plugs.
Yeah.
That's right.
He looked like he had a doll. They transplanted a doll's head
Yeah.
with some missing follicles.
Well, speaking of old Vegas, I used to work at the Vegas club. Bob Stupak. Bob Stupak decided that he wanted to go look like Frank Sinatra, so he goes to get some plastic surgery, man. It wasn't a pretty sight, but
Was that before or after the motorcycle?
I think that was before.
before.
But man, that poor guy.
He didn't look like Maggio
I don't know what he looked like. I mean,
from here to
he was the
eternity.
strangest guy, man. He'd sit at the end of the bar and sweat bullets. He'd be upstairs smoking that pipe. I mean, that guy was strange, man.
I got one better than that.
No, seriously, man. This cat was real gone. The guy says, "Who owns this place?" And I said, "The guy sitting at the end of the bar over there and sweating to death."
From hitting that pipe.
He was hitting something.
He used
Yeah,
to
you're
drive that little 3-wheel scooter
Yeah.
around town, and then you'd see him go to Little Caesars. Believe it or not, Little Caesars used to book some of the biggest action
Yeah,
in town.
that's right.
He would go with a suitcase with $1 million in it and go make his bets over
That's
there, because Little Caesars would book any action you had. It
Remember-
was unbelievable.
Remember the Leaning Tower Pizza?
I leaned against there a
Biggest
few
bookie in
times.
town. He was the biggest bookie. Always used to wonder why. We always went out there for dinner, because number one, it was a nice Italian place, and Jasper, my dad knew him, and my mom, we all knew everybody. And we'd always go out there. I said, why do you drive way out here to get pizza? The old
Well,
man was
everybody
betting
went
on
there.
the games, huh?
Everybody went there,
Yeah,
but there
Jasper was a
reason
big
why.
shot. That's
You could
right.
bet the
Anything.
over and under if you had enough pepperoni on your
And he was
pizza.
a loan shark too. If you needed money,
Or you could
so
middle
many
it.
points.
Oh,
Yeah.
I used to go in the back with a guy, and the guy would go in there and say, "Look, can you put a G, which is $1,000, on this game?" Yeah, and they take the money, and then we go eat our pizza and garlic bread, and it was a nice place. You'd see Sinatra. Everybody would go in there, and you'd see wise guys coming in and out. I mean, everybody used to go in there.
But that's funny. Jasper always, as being the loan shark that he was, he always outlasted, even Spilotro trying to get
always-
rid of all them guys. He
No.
sort of faded out a little bit, but because Spilotro was the one that was moving in, getting rid of all them loan sharks.
Well, Jasper had some juice too. Jasper had, I mean,
Well, that's where Tony stepped over the line.
Well, Tony stepped over the line when when he started getting intimate with what's his name's wife, Lefty
Lefty
Rosenthal.
Well, do you ever realize he's the only one that was left standing?
Well, Lefty wasn't standing.
wanna
when
know why?
He was blown out of
You
his
want to
car.
know why? He was a CIA agent.
Who, Lefty Rosenthal?
Yeah.
CIA agent.
He was an inside guy. He was a rat.
He was.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Is
Yeah.
there books on it?
that's
I didn't
why he
know that.
lived.
I didn't either.
I heard it many times.
I didn't
He
know
was
that.
he worked for the feds. Same. Who else was that Whitey guy in
Bulger.
Boston? He was
Whitey
he
Bulger.
worked both sides from the middle.
Well, I know he did, but that's the first time I ever heard about
Rosenthal
Lefty.
was.
I
never
didn't know
heard
that
that.
about
Yep.
Lefty.
I never heard that about
And I'm gonna look
Lefty.
it up, and I'll bring it when I get it.
Yeah, bring it. That's quite a revelation because I had no idea.
Yeah.
No, not.
And I
about-
think there's a lot of that goes on that.
And I know Johnny
They don't
Hicks
know.
got into it with Lefty. It's a
Johnny
prop.
Hicks.
Well, Lefty he wasn't a tough guy, but
No,
he
but
was-
he had
He had
muscle
power.
behind
Oh,
him.
he
That's
had a
the
lot of
thing.
power.
He wasn't in the strong arm, and that's why he had
No,
he
he
had
was the
Spilotro,
brains.
and they had the other guys. If he needed something taken care of, the Ant would take care of it along with the Hole in the Wall gang.
Yeah.
But Johnny Hicks, who was the son of Marion Hicks, who was half owner along with Cliff Jones of the Thunderbird, which
True.
we're going to get into that history on one of our shows. But there was quite a
We
Hey,
got
Jimmy Bags, take us out on a break right now
We're
and
going
say
on
something.
break right now, man.
Say something that the
For
people
our advertisers or
say
whoever
something
they are.
endearing. Yeah, maybe
Something
one of
endearing?
yeah.
Fuck yourself. No, I'm kidding. My endearing thing is.
Be
this.
right back. Vegas Nights Tales.
Now let's return to the Vegas Nights.
Thank you, guys. Thanks. We're back, and we're going to get back into this Indy Paulson.
Andy Paulson.
Benny, didn't you ever want to finish up with him on something?
Yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about him. I mean, he definitely made this town what it was, and how he changed a lot of ways. He made all them tables and everything. That that's where he started finding out he could make a lot of money.
Did he do the tables or just the layouts?
No,
Did
he
make
was doing the
tables, too?
tables. Yeah, he started building the tables. He found that all these car dealerships were going out of Mexico and started building because they could do it cheap over there. And he started getting into making the tables and their chip racks and all that stuff. So he ended up taking it out to Mexico himself, started the business over there, and he saved 10 tons of money.
It's the American way.
Yeah, and then he started making all the money that way. He took over everybody here in town just about. He went to Reno, opened up there in back east.
He
was
probably had a
all-
lock on it, didn't he? Have a lock on it at
For a
one
while.
time,
For
didn't
a
he,
while, for a while he did, and then he when he went to Mexico, and when he passed away over there, he got sick and everything. His son took over, and it wasn't doing real well after the son took over.
You know where his office was? Remember there on Industrial, right on that
there on
corner
Industrial,
there?
yeah.
Yeah, it was a strange little place.
I used to stop there to get. You used to buy your chips to work out with over there. The Paulson, play chips. You could go get racks of them for so many, like maybe a rack for $5 or $10. And then that's what you did when you were breaking in, practicing with those chips, cutting with your left hand, cutting with your right. 2, 2, 3, 3,
You
4,
do that at
4,
home,
5, 5.
right at your kitchen table. We all did it.
Or on an ironing. Remember on the ironing board? We used to do
sure.
that.
Yeah, that's why I could iron out my problems.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Hey, one thing that Mr. Indy did, he also made furniture.
Really?
Yeah, he started getting into the furniture.
Yeah,
sure.
and low cost and
He
good.
made everything.
He did everything, man.
He started getting into all that stuff.
It was a renaissance.
And when they really busted loose too was in 1988 when Congress passed the law that the Indians could have gaming on the reservation.
Yeah.
You know what they do to you if they catch you doing something in there?
Who?
Indians.
They scalp you.
Yeah, no, they tie you out with that leather rope and let the sun dry you out, man.
I thought they put you over
ants. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And they let you
Bury
get
up to your
antsy.
neck.
They let you get real antsy.
Bury you up to your neck, man.
Put you on a cliff, 1,000-foot cliff, in a little cage, and have anthill right there. You can't get away from
And
them.
and then they would put honey in a certain area so that the ants would be attracted to their new home.
Yeah.
And we're some sick people
That's horrible.
here. People.
Well, you know what? The Indians aren't the first people that started the scalping. The white man started this. Was the first scalpers. The Indians picked it up, I think, from them. They got blamed for that.
And
that's
how?
not true. Not really. I read a book. A guy loaned me a book. And he was a fifth grade school teacher, and he lent me a book called The Westerner or something, and it talked about how they came out here. Well, a lot of the people that made the West what it is were just come out here. They were rich Easterners that just wanted to come out here and hunt, the buffalo, and they about destroyed everything in their sight. You know what I mean? That had to do with nature.
Well, there wasn't.
And it was
any
a strange book. It was.
There wasn't any conservationists back then.
No, well, not even to the point where they wiped out the buffalo, man.
Well, even Teddy Roosevelt was a big time hunter.
Yeah, exactly.
He went where the buffalo.
Well, they
roamed.
made their money on beaver skins and stuff, and then go back east and sell them, and just stay back there. They didn't really care how they left this.
You know what beaver hunting led to years later?
Yeah.
Leave it to beaver.
Leave it to beaver. You know what else it led to?
But isn't that amazing? How
Now they don't call it beaver anymore.
how the white man took everything away from the Indians, even their land and everything. Now, when they come into opening up gaming, they started taking over the gaming, and now again the white man didn't know what to do. Well, you know what I mean? I mean now they're they got some nice places out there.
Yeah, but they still live like they did then.
A lot of them do, yes.
I mean, they're wealthy and still live like that.
Yeah,
I don't get that. But I work at a place once a year. I donate a week of my time to a rodeo. It's a rodeo, and it's in an Indian area, you know. And these people can drink, brother. And you know when they say hot fire water, they ain't lying. These people get drunk. They get a little wild, man.
They go on the warpath.
They go on, and I mean it. They get in there.
Did you know? Just real quick, you know what the most shocking thing was said on TV in the 50s during the black and white era?
Yeah, damn.
No, on Leave It to Beaver. It's when Mrs. Cleaver said to Ward, "You were a little hard on the beaver last night."
So
that's why I stayed up and watched the show.
So Wally it out.
Yeah. Gee, Wally, you think Dad'll lend me those little balloons, huh, Wally?
Remember when America was like that? That's something, man.
Are you kidding?
When I was a kid, it was like,
that was just yesterday.
Milk and cookies, man. Milk and cookies. And I used to get on.
I mean, everything seems so together and organized and clean. You know what I mean?
Even the cartoons were.
The lawn, the car, everything.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I was envious because, you know, I grew up and I was wearing huaraches and a serape, and, you know, people had dogs.
What is
people
a serape?
It's something that covers you. You know, like, did you see
a
Clint
poncho?
Eastwood in
Poncho.
In A Few Dollars More?
Poncho,
yeah, poncho, but it's a serape.
Okay.
But anyway, you know,
like
Caucasian people,
on me.
white folks had dogs. We had donkeys for pets. And they was always trying to make an ass out of me.
Did you ever notice donkeys got a cross on their back? You ever notice that?
No.
You never
Crossing
seen that?
Well, I never got that close.
No, it
to
comes
the
it
back.
comes all the way down their back and from shoulder to shoulder. You never noticed that on a donkey?
No, I just noticed when they
You
kicking
couldn't
up
have
their
been
heels.
around many donkeys.
I was around a lot of donkeys.
You still are.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
the one
might
sitting
even,
right next to you
I
there.
worked with a few
Fucking
donkeys.
donkey.
I worked with a few donkeys. They were real asses. But you know, Paul Dyson's son, during that time and after the Indian gaming law passed in '88, they actually exploded for netting 11 million because now they were distributing to all these gaming reservation places that were opening all through California, and of course other states have started to follow.
And you know why he was so successful?
I imagine because
One guy, and you mentioned him earlier.
Mo
Took a
Dalitz.
liking to him. Mo was the
Dalitz took a
godfather
liking
of
to
Las
him.
Vegas. If Mo liked you and you wanted something, you're getting it.
This man, Paul, would actually, when he would go on break, he'd go down to a donut shop, buy the whole donut shop out, and bring it back and give it to all his employees.
Buy it out.
Or if he went to a sub store, he'd buy everything they had in there,
That's
bring it back and give
beautiful.
it to everybody.
Isn't that beautiful,
Just
man?
take it.
Could you imagine? He's buying all the donuts and he sees you're having a bad day. He says, "Take 2 of these and call me in the morning."
Yeah.
Hey, I remember, they talk about, some of these, one of the biggest stars that there ever was, Elvis Presley, was one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. And that's amazing, because some of them, he was not arrogant or uppity at all, man. That's surprising.
Well, he was definitely a jewel.
He was
Definitely.
down to earth, man. He stopped what he was doing and waved to you, man. Jimmy, how you doing? That was like, when I was a kid, he was my idol. I was like 12. He was like 20-something when he made that Love Me. We all liked Elvis.
Listen, everybody wanted to be like Elvis.
Oh, man.
He was
and when I
great
seen
looking.
him, I couldn't believe it, man.
He was great looking, got the girls, and if guys thought he was a cream puff, he
No, he wasn't
proved
no
of
cream
otherwise.
puff.
He would kick butt.
You know what? He was so nice you wouldn't even think about doing anything. He was just a gentleman, man. He was the epitome of a Southern gentleman, man.
Yeah, he was.
Really, he was.
Yeah.
He was. He was a nice guy.
Yes,
And that's
he
what happened
was.
to him. Even a woman brought him down. That's terrible. That is, man. Elvis, man.
Listen, it happened to Samson.
To the best of us.
Delilah cut his hair.
That happened to King David, too.
That ended that.
Throughout time,
That's right.
women have been shearing men for a
That's
long
what they
time.
say. It's stronger than cancer, man. That little bit. We always.
But
trying
you
to
don't
get-
die. You don't die right away. It's a slow death.
Well, most times,
But-
it
but
seems
not
like
you.
we're always trying to be reborn again.
Not
they
you,
say
baby.
that's-
I'm not
Freud
talking about
said
you,
that.
baby. Don't put arsenic in my rice. It's already got arsenic, but don't load it up. It isn't. Not you, baby cakes.
Sigmund Freud always said that.
Freud was a sick guy too.
Yeah, he said we all wanted to do our mothers.
Oh, I can't even talk
yeah.
about that.
And that's in our subconscious.
I'd rather talk about bad corn.
That's not even in my subconscious.
Not even.
I can't even imagine. I try not to get it in my conscious
Oh
because
my
I
God!
get ill.
Oh no! Oh no!
That's what Tony Spilotro on The Sopranos, when they kept going to that shrink, he said, if you tell me I want to fuck my mother one more time, I'm going to come over there and choke you. Huh? He said, the thought of it makes me ill,
Oh my goodness! Hey, you got any more on Paul? Paul Indy?
Yeah, other than him, after he passed
That's
away.
for him and his mom, there was something.
They used to play cards together.
Yeah, gin
Some kind of
rummy.
Which
poker.
one was bluffing?
After he passed away and everything, son took it over and it just
Ruined
went
it,
downhill.
yeah.
Then it ended up GPI came into business, and they ended up
Are they still
taking
around?
it all over. GPI, yeah.
No, the kid. The kid's still around?
He was. I don't know if the kid's still around or not. He become like president of the company of GPI. He might still be hanging around there.
How old is he? About our age?
Yeah, he's got to be our age. Yeah. So GPI took over, and that's where it's at now. I mean, GPI they're out of they're Borghese and Gasset. They were out of France.
But they don't have a lock on it like he did, though.
Yeah, they
There's a
pretty
lot
well
of company.
do.
They do in the whole
Yeah,
town?
pretty much now. They ended up taking over Bud Jones, the Gin Corp, Paulson. They're all over now. They're Las Vegas, San Luis, Mexico, Blue
International.
Springs. They're
The
international.
cards, the cards, they were made out of Cincinnati a long time. B cards.
Yeah.
They were out of Cincinnati. I never knew that till one day I'm opening the deck and I look and it says,
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, he started all kinds of new stuff that with the cards. He could, he invented this machine that would end up doubling the amount of cards they can make a day, and it would automatically put the blue in one box, red in the other box, so, and then they could move them out. But hey, it was a pretty good story on him. He, with his gravelly voice and everything, how he moved a lot of people in this town, and he didn't take no guff off anybody, that's for sure.
No, he was a stand-up guy, and he wanted you, look you in the eye, and he wanted you to, when you said something, he wanted you to, follow through.
That's all. Follow through.
A lot of people don't do that. They'll smile at you and shake your hand, but the follow through ain't there. And as you golfers very well know, that the follow through is important
Speaking
for
of
your
golf.
game.
Well, he ended up going into the Nevada Gaming Hall of Fame.
That's correct.
1997, they put him in there.
97,
That's pretty
97.
huge here for town. He put in the Hall of Fame.
yeah,
Do you think we'll ever go in the Gambling Hall of Shame?
yeah, I will.
No, I think I see good things in our future. We got stuff that nobody has.
Well, you consider it 120 years of combined gaming experience and life experience of growing up in Las Vegas since the late 50s all the way to present day 2015.
Sure. You wait till Jimmy Kimmel gets hold of us. He'll have us on his show, right?
Jimmy, you're
got
a
all that.
Vegas guy, baby. Come on.
Yeah, you got them all.
Hey, I think it's time to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back with Jimmy Baggs, Benny Baccarat, and me.
All right.
Craps.
Vegas Nights.
Now let's return to the Vegas Nights.
Hey, everybody out there. I know you're listening to us out there. Come on, give us a call. Blog us. Twitter us. Hashtag us. But don't toe tag us. Don't toe tag us because I don't want to end up a stiff. All right?
We're all going to end up a stiff one.
Not me. I'm coming back as a set of dice, and I'm going to be rolling right
I want to
along.
come back as a poodle to a showgirl.
Yeah, it's
You
not
want
bad.
to be walked?
I want her poodle. I want to be a poodle to a
You want
showgirl.
her poodle?
Think
You know
about
what?
that.
That was
Reincarnation.
very pet smart, Jimmy Baggs.
Wouldn't that be
Very
good?
pet smart.
I just sleep in her lap all the time.
Oh, that was
boy.
Yeah, I'm
Freudian.
still on that Freudian thing, man.
You ever
I've
have
been
a
reading
fr-
a book about the mind. What you think, if you keep thoughts, it'll happen.
Yeah, you quit thinking.
Well, ain't
quit
nothing
reading
happening,
It.
and I'm thinking a lot of stuff.
Quit reading it.
I know.
Start
Your
living it,
mind is
Jimmy
fine.
Baggs.
Oh, I did that too.
Oh, yeah.
The wrong way.
Listen, I used to get, all of us dealers are just like bartenders, and Jimmy Baggs used to be. You become like a psychologist because
Yeah.
the people, especially in bartending, because the people start drinking and they start saying what's on their mind,
Well, I got
don't
fired.
they, Jimmy
Listen to
Baggs?
this. I got fired from a job one time. Guy comes up to the bar. He weighs 400 pounds. 400 pounds.
What'd you call him,
Big
Tiny?
dog. No, he comes and sits at the bar. He says, "Give me a rum and Diet Coke." I said, "It's too late." I said, "Just."
It's too
I said, "Just get the rum, man."
get the
I mean, the rum's all sugar. What the fuck's the Diet Coke got to do with it? Well, he turned
With
me
the
in. I
diet.
got in trouble. I said, "I'm just trying to." It was a joke. I mean,
You can't say jokes no more.
No, I mean, it's too late. And the
Well,
guy went,
in-
"How dare you?" I said, "What? You covered the stool disappeared when you sat down."
Did it look like he had
you
4
serious?
legs or 6 legs?
Oh, he looked like he was enjoying himself. I don't know.
Well, so you wouldn't
Some
say
pictures
to
all over that place.
you wouldn't say to the 400-pound patron, "Can I push your stool in for you?"
Well, I got to tell you one story. I don't even know if I should tell you. I had 4 whores at the bar once at the Riv.
Yeah.
I'm bartending, boom, and I looked down the aisle. Remember how the aisle?
Of
it leads
course.
right up to the bar, right?
I was in the Riv
All
many
right,
times.
here comes this guy. Now, I'm not saying anything against crippled people. I mean, I relate and I feel sorry for them.
What
That's
about
cool.
Carl Carsoni, the
Well, this
one-armed
guy-
acrobat?
Don't go there. Don't get me started. Well, anyway, this kid had, I don't know what it was. What happens when they,
That's usually cerebral palsy.
something like that. Well, here he come, man. He's walking up the aisle. He's heading to the bar towards these 4 whores. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, everybody else is looking at me to see if I'm going to laugh or not. You know what I'm saying? Because they know I'm a sick son of a bitch, you know?
Of course.
So I'm saying if this guy comes up here and talks to one of these girls, I'm going to lose it, you know? he kept getting closer and closer after bumping into everything. You know, here he come, man. I said, man, he's coming up for it. That son of a bitch made his way up the steps and walked up to this girl and said, and they left together. And I said, man, I'd like to be a fly on the wall on that spot. How would you like to see that in action? Well, I laughed about that all day, and not in a sick way. It just, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I give that guy credit because, man, if I was like that, I don't think I'd leave the house. You know what I mean? But he had nerve enough to walk up there and ask this whore to go somewhere with him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he had determination.
Exactly.
Then, right?
Huh? I thought,
Jimmy,
really, man?
Jimmy Baggs, someone like
and that
that.
guy looked at me and said, you laugh at anything, don't you? And I went, you gonna tell me that ain't funny?
Someone like that.
That's funny.
He
Jimmy, you gotta
wanted.
quit reading that book.
He wanted some therapy. He wanted
he wanted some
therapy
therapy,
from
all
that
right.
whore.
She had to tie him down to keep him still. You know, I mean,
Well, no, I would have think that she
I was
would
all
want him
over the
all moving around, spastic-like, because obviously it's the motion of the ocean and the.
yeah.
you
I mean,
know.
I was just surprised that it happened. I mean, I give a guy credit, man.
I do too. The
I'd be-
determination.
yeah, exactly.
It was it's kind of like horror Olympics.
like not-
Horror Olympics is what he was going through.
And she didn't blink an eye. She just said, you got any money?
Money takes
You
care.
got money. I don't care if you're whatever you are.
It doesn't matter.
No, I don't think so, man.
How do you think? Do you give the challenged individual more credit than, say, if the 400-pound guy had approached the whore?
Definitely.
Because I know a lot of whores tell me they're repulsed by extremely overweight
Heavy
people. Yeah.
Some people like it, though. There was a person on Jerry Springer on one of them shows, and she was like a 500-pounder, man. And she said guys would just email her and pay her just to watch her eat and stuff. You know what I mean? There's sick people out there. They
A
like
lot
to
sicker
watch
than
fat
us.
people eat. They
A
like,
lot sicker than us.
That's why they got people on them shows. 'Cause
Yeah,
they pay them
that's
to
right.
come on.
Yeah, and I mean, she was immense, man. Her ankles were bigger than my thighs.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I know a guy that went out with a 400-pound girl, and they went to the restaurant, but it was closed. So she said, "Come on, I got a half a sandwich left." She pulled up part of her roll, and there was a half a sandwich. I think it was a little green
Cheeseburger.
ham. She
Yeah.
goes, "Here, you want it?"
The grilled
He
cheese.
said, "Is that brown bread?" She goes, "No, it's green bread." And then over here, she had half a donut.
Oh, I don't get that. I mean, there's different strokes for different folks, you know. But
Hey, there's people that like really, really skinny people.
well, you like amputees, don't you?
Carl Carsoni, the one-armed acrobat.
Don't you notice he always
the one-
bringing up guys with no leg? He brings this guy in with one
You ever
leg.
see an acrobat with one arm? It's
No.
fantastic.
I
John,
can
I
see
can
one
see
with
why
two.
people hide back in this corner now.
That's a different view from over there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a different view.
Huh?
Listen,
You'll see it from over there.
hey, next week we're going to talk about a guy that was a bowling champion with only 2 fingers.
No.
Yeah. Which 2 fingers, Jimmy Baggs?
Thumb and little finger?
It was right up some people's
Right up-
alley.
Right up the alley, baby.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was a regular kingpin.
Well, you know, when I start liking bowling, when they come out with them new things, them bumpers where you can't gutter it.
I miss gutter balls because people used to
lived
say,
in the gutter,
"Hey, you
man.
came from the gutter,"
I
and
lived
so
in it.
the gutter was very important to me. It was a safe zone for me. I never wanted to strike out.
You know what the difference between the people praying in church and in a casino?
Yeah.
In a casino, they mean it.
In the casino, they mean it.
Huh?
Of course. I used to watch a guy that was, I believe he was a defrocked priest, and he used to sprinkle what he said was holy water on the dice. But somehow the devil would creep in and 7 out.
Well, I'll tell you, I had a Jewish man. He's come up from California, but he was in that black hat and all that. You know, he was I don't know what they call them. What are they, rabbis?
Hasidic.
And he was a gambling fool, man. He talked to the machines, and he was like a little nuts. But he would always talk to me. People would ask me, why does he always talk to you? I said, I don't know. I'm probably as goofy as he is. And I was always dressed to the nines, right? So one day after I'd known this guy for months, he comes up to me, he goes, hey, you know something, Jimmy? Usually the flashiest dressers are the weakest link. And I went, well, thanks.
And with that,
So what you trying to tell me
we'll let
something?
Benny Baccarat wrap this up.
Is this it?
Yeah, that's
Wow,
it.
what a
Well,
good show.
folks,
What a
we're
fast
have
hour.
another great day today. Thank you for listening to the Vegas Nights Tells. Here, Benny Baccarat. We got Jimmy Baggs, Danny Crafts. Appreciate you being here.
See you
Next
next
week's
week,
going to be a
folks.
great show. Great show.
Right now,
I'll
we're
be-
going to go
I'll be
to
missing an action.
the
there.
three of us are going to go to a hookah lounge.
Yeah, hook
A hookah?
lounge.
A hookah lounge.
Speaking of, I wanted to talk to you.
Thanks for listening.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
folks. Good
Las
night.
Vegas, past,
Good day.
present, and now, baby.